When I first heard about Hurricane Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was all that pre-warning the week before, and it was like, they were saying, oh, it's going to be so bad, it's going to be so bad, but so is every other hurricane that's supposed to hit Long Island and everywhere else. But it kind of became serious, I think, the day that it was supposed to hit.
There's a group called Team Rubicon, which is a national organization of military veterans that, among other things, responds to disasters all around the country. And they have sort of a quick strike team that goes immediately after disaster to set up shop and try to organize recovery operations. So they set up an operation in the Rockaways, I think within the first week. And then gradually, Team Rubicon handed over the operations to two other groups. One was AmeriCorps, started showing up, I think, in late November, December, and then ultimately New York Cares assumed ownership of the projects, and Team Rubicon phased out and goes elsewhere when the next disaster strikes, I guess. So it's now AmeriCorps, but New York Cares is the prime, manager of the shop.
Alrighty. 116 gain, so we're going down there and we're going to walk that way. I'm not sure which side it's on, I'm going to just have to take a look.
A muck out in disaster situations like this usually is two or three different phases of things. One is removal of debris from the home that's been damaged or destroyed, typically on the first floor of a house and often in the basement. We've been into some god-awful basements that have been just completely submerged in water, and the floor has been entirely covered with junk, basically. Junk now, but possessions, boxes and boxes of things, shelves and appliances that have been ruined. So you have to clear a bunch of stuff out of houses first. And then the next stage generally is to rip out the damaged walls and sometimes floors and ceilings, depending on what's gotten flooded and how bad it is and how bad the mold might be. But typically you're ripping out floors, often on lower either in basements or on the first floor, either paneling or whatever the walls are, either up to about 4 feet sometimes if the water hasn't gotten above that level, or sometimes the entire wall up to the ceiling, and sometimes also the ceiling and light fixtures if the damage has gotten up that far.
$150 Visa gift card in the Reese's Perfect Sweepstakes. Enter for your chance to win at C100.com. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the official candy.
Yeah, start stacking it over here because we can't block the door.
It's taking a while because, well, it's a long process to do. It's been pretty damaged, but some of the houses are not that bad, and some of them are unfortunately bad. If you know what you're doing, then it's not dangerous. But usually when you do it, You wear the hard hat. Unfortunately, you have to wear the tie back even if it's warm. And you also have to wear the I don't know, what do you call it? I forgot. I think it has something to do with a nose mouth mask. I forgot the name of it. And you usually have it so you don't get any dust or unusualness in your nose and mouth while you do that.
It can be quite a health problem when we're working on it. We always have to wear masks, and in fact, we generally wear protective face masks, even in the prior stages, because we sometimes run into asbestos, which is very dangerous, and simply the dust and the particles that you run into when you're doing demolition, and then also mold spores, which can get into the line.
And usually it takes about an hour to 2 hours to actually get the mold off in a house that needed molding. And then when that's done, you go to another house and you do something else.
We call muck outs, which is gutting a building that needs to be, you got to take the drywall off because the damage, the surge damage, flooded, however high, 4 feet, 5 feet in some cases, up in living quarters, above the street level, and that had to be taken down. All the drywall has to be taken down. Any insulation that's behind there, right down to the studs, And in most cases, obviously the floors are no good either, so the floors have to come up, and then the subfloor has to come up down to the joist, which is the floor joist, which is where the floors rest on, And at that point, we have to go and take the mold out, and that's a tough part. That's tough,
So the past couple of months, there's been more mold at places that we go to, and so that after we do the debris removal and the gutting, which is what the basic demolition phase is called, there's now a third phase of mold remediation that New York Cares is trying to take care of.
It was covered over with wood. When they gutted the wall, they didn't take out the actual sides, the paneling.
So it can get a little tight, but obviously the more hands that we have, the quicker it's going to go, because you got to get to the mold, because the mold is a living thing. It's it's an organism, and it's a living thing, and it's approaching the right conditions for it to thrive right now. With the temperature going up, and it's always, especially in the Rockaways, it's always damp.
But there's still plenty to be done. It's not over. It's like the recovery and other disasters.
At this point, it's already like 6 months almost since Superstorm Sandy. It was at the beginning of end of October, beginning of November. So that's in May. It'll be 6 months. So at this point, it's like you can go anywhere, I guess, but there would probably be fewer things for you to do. And the why is, maybe to get involved because you feel badly because it's so late. You should have done it already. But for your conscience or whatever, there's so many things you could do. If it's from a sense of guilt, whatever it is.
After the muck out is done, then basically the house is ready to be rebuilt or to be to be redone, so that way the owners can move back into it and it could still exist in their lives.
In a jug of water, and they have them around, and this is what really the people have been after.
What's that?
No, I'm just saying that he's taking a documentary, but
the things that matter: water, paper, lights. Very simple things, but that's what the first priority was.
Where should I put that?
Work. It just it goes. It's going to go on for years, I suspect. It's hard to imagine, but we still are hitting homes that haven't been touched since the end of October when the storm hit.
Straight on that one first. We also need some of this stuff falling off the bathroom floor. You want to do that?
Okay.
Okay. Just be careful. They redid all the heaters. It's now plastic tubing instead of the steel. So be very, very careful when you're at it with a Sawzall. Okay, work it very, very gently. If you don't feel like you can do it, leave it alone. We'll get at it later.
Whatever. What is that? The word in Hebrew is chesed. Chesed, I think it is. It's like unconditional love. You know, where there is no, you love or you give and you don't ask for anything in response. You know, and you just want to help.
Before we do that, TV tonight, Danielle, what you got?
You got American Idol, Modern Family, Survivor, Hoarding, Buried Alive, and of course, Duck Dynasty. Everyone loves that show.
Yeah, did you look at the entire Duck Dynasty series?
So we're now just barely 6 months after Sandy. It's not over yet, and it's easy to get out here from almost anywhere in Manhattan. There's a bus that leaves from Manhattan at 8 o'clock every morning.
You go to, like I did, I went to NewYorkCares.org. Or you can, I guess Google up, Sandy volunteer opportunities, and you can get involved anyways like that.
It's easy to come out for a day or two a week if you can, or an entire week if you can take that much time off, or maybe you're retired or have plenty of spare time. The need is still here.